Hello friends, I'm Jill Williams. Welcome to the Think Like a Painter podcast, where we'll have weekly discussions about living life as a painter, how we're different, and the mindsets we need to become better artists. I'm a professional artist, watercolorist, and instructor who's passionate about the creative process and helping others to achieve their artistic goals. I've devoted most of my life to art as a painter. I've even worked as a muralist, stained glass artist, illustrator, graphic designer, and even professional picture framer on my journey to discovering my creative voice. I have over 2 decades of experience in the creative trenches to share with you in hopes that you will be informed, inspired, motivated, and most importantly, that you'll learn more about yourself as an artist and how to expand your own creative potential. If you're looking for your tribe of painters, regardless of skill level, I encourage you to join me each week to learn how you can think like a painter. So welcome, I'm Jill. It's been a while, okay? So this group used to be Exploring Abstract Landscapes in Watercolor, and I had a few hundred people in this group at one time, and this group started probably back in 2020. It's been around a while, and I shared a lot of, content here in the group, painting demos, different things like that over the course of a couple of years, for sure. And then I kind of switched gears in my own career and started doing a watercolor membership online, which is still in place. That's growing and expanding, and it's there. I love my job. But I've always had it in the back of my mind that I wanted to come back and revisit this group so that I could share some things that still share some things that I'm learning that I feel like can help other artists and that type of thing. And it just be, a free format, a free forum where I can just come and share and, extend just community to you and all of these good things. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit today. So if you're new here, my name is Jill. I'm a professional artist. My medium is watercolor, and I'm also living as a nomad right now. My husband and I have been on the road for into our 3rd year. This coming April will mark the end of 3 years that we've been on the road. In a nutshell, we sold everything and downsized back in 2019, and we hit the road full time in 22, but we've actually been living in our bus full time since 21. So it's been a long road, and so we've learned a lot of things. We've been traveling a lot, been painting a lot, growing my business as an online instructor and in-person instructor. As in my travels, I've been able to, stop and do workshops along the way and meet new people, and it's been a super ride. And so if you've not been connected with me in a while, definitely, go check out my blog. It's on my website, jillwilliamswatercolor.com, and you can kind of follow along on our adventures, and I share some things there. And especially if you go back and revisit some of the older original posts in the blog, you kind of get a little story of what our travels have been like. It's been a wild ride for sure. Been a lot of fun. But coming back to this group, I think my goal for this group is to develop a sense of community, and especially for painters. And I'm a watercolorist, so I'm going to be talking a lot from the standpoint as a watercolorist. And what I hope this does for you is it helps you to be informed about different things, that it builds community, that it lets me share concepts and ideas with you that help you grow as a painter, especially in terms of your mindset. One of the things that I had mentioned in some of my promotional content for this little talk today was that painters are different. We're different. And we think a little bit differently. We're artists, and all artists are a little bit different than just the standard crowd. And sometimes it does actually get a little bit lonely, and I think it's really important for us to look at that idea today. We're going to talk about the importance of community for artists, specifically for painters. And I've got some things to share with you that I hope are going to help you understand why you need community, even though, if we're honest, most of us as artists, we kind of would rather be off by ourselves anyway, kind of doing our own thing. But we kind of need each other too, okay? And we're going to talk about that today and why I feel like that's important. And I'm going to give you some examples of how you can start to get connected to community, how you can start to really find your tribe, okay? And it kind of starts right here. We're all in this group together, and the last time I looked at the little heading, there are over 400, close to 500 people in here, and that's a lot of painters. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of painters. And so we need each other. Okay, so let's talk about some of that just a little bit today. First of all, let me just kind of look and make sure people are coming in. Excellent. I've got lots of folks in here, and you will get to see the replay if you miss it. So let's talk about. I'm going to point out maybe 3 reasons why I think it's so important for painters to have community, even though we kind of like to be by ourselves, okay? It really is important for us to kind of gel and find our tribe, get together. And one of the most important things is just, kinship, fellowship. You're connecting with people who have the same thoughts and feelings and passions that you do. And I'll give you an example just by asking you a question. And answer me. I want to hear from you on this. How often do you have these thoughts in your mind? As a painter, you have a group of friends. We all have these circles and groups of friends that are different. Okay, we've got some groups of friends that's who we like to go on walks with, and we've got favorite friends that we love to talk about books and movies together, or whatever the case may be. But when it comes to wanting to talk about your art, or maybe you're working on a painting and you're just kind of stuck in this one place and there's just nobody to talk to, and if you try to talk to your friends about it, they're kind of like it just goes right over their head. You're not making that connection, and you just know that they don't know how to talk to me about this. I love them. They're my friend. I love them, but I can't talk to them about painting. They're not excited about my new color that I got at the art store today. They're not excited for me when I sign up for a new class, or they're not excited for me when I make a new discovery, or how many of us know what that feels like? I know I do. I have, I've got my own group of friends, and it's that same thing. There's those certain friends that you just can't talk about painting. You just can't talk about art that much. And it feels a little frustrating. It can feel a little bit frustrating. And so when we do connect with other painters, now we can talk shop. Now we've got things to talk about together. We've got, oh my gosh, when I talk about this new color and how it's got this dispersion effect, or how I'm getting this granulation that I want, or how I'm loving this new paper that I'm using, you've got a friend that's excited and is celebrating with you instead of kind of just staring at you like you've got 5 heads, right? So that's one reason. You've really got that outlet of people who get you. They understand what it is to be a painter. Even if they're not painting in watercolor, they still understand the beauty of finding that one brush that it just does everything that you were hoping, right? It's so important for us to be able to have that type of connection, okay? So that kinship, that fellowship. Another really important reason is accountability, okay? We're busy, we're adults, we're grown-ups now, okay, have been for a long, long time, and we've got family, we've got jobs, we've got, responsibilities, obligations, we've got all the grown-up things to do, and a lot of times it's really easy to let our creativity just sort of slide down to the bottom of the list of priorities. And if we're connected with, if we're connected with other artists, with other painters, we've got that constant thing. Hey, have you been working on your painting? I know you told me that you had this project in mind. Have you got started on it? Let me see what you've got. Let me show you what I'm doing. Oh my gosh, I can't tell you how valuable that is. It keeps you in that groove. It keeps you in that mindset of working on it. It does. It's just a natural, sort of response or effect, whatever you want to call it. It's just that natural inclination that that it moves into that type of thing where we've got that built-in accountability, and it's not this formulaic, regimented thing. We're not giving our artist friends, we're not giving each other a checklist to do, but it's just there because we care. We're interested in the other, in the other artist gaining momentum, getting to where they want to be with their own process. It's super, super important. And a third reason, which I think is one of the best ones, is just the aspect of healthy competition. Okay, what do I mean by that? The motivation that starts to happen with healthy competition. That's when you're looking and seeing what your friends are doing, and and you look at some of the work that they've been doing. You're like, wow, okay, they've been really putting in the time. That's a kick in the pants for me. I need to do that too. If she can do it, if he can do it, I'm going to carve out time to do that because I'm seeing the impact here, and I need that in my life too. And so I'll tell you, the first time I experienced really all three of these things was when I was in college, when I was an art student in college, and I was too young. Youth is wasted on the young, right? I was young. I didn't understand what I had, but there I am. I'm in an art school, or in an art program at a school, and I'm surrounded by painters. I'm a painting major. I am surrounded by painters. We're in the painting studio multiple times a week, and that kinship is there. Instantly, I've got anybody that I want to talk to about mediums, processes, ideas or concepts for paintings, how to work into a theme, getting critiques from fellow students, all these different types of things. All that kinship and fellowship, it was just right there. It was just served up to me on a platter. It was, and I had no idea how amazing that was. I just thought, well, that's just the way life is. But I had no idea that, as soon as I got out of art school, I was going to be missing that. Okay. The accountability was there. I had professors, I had instructors, I had my fellow students there. We were all helping each other achieve the goal. We were all working together, pushing and striving together, learning and growing together, encouraging one another. It was amazing. And then the healthy competition was totally there. Okay. You would just kind of look over the shoulder of a fellow student, and you would see that they're just doing something just, whoa, okay, they've really jumped it up a new level and are doing something totally new. And it inspires you. It inspired me. It was always a, kind of a kick in the pants, of like, whoa, okay, I've got work to do. Okay, this is awesome. Okay, if they can kick it up another level, I know I can kick it up another level. And so there was kind of this tug, push and pull of, really pushing each other to the next level. All of those things were absolutely amazing. I was with my tribe. I was in my painting community. I was with other painters. And then as soon as I graduated, just like cutting off a switch, all of that was gone. And I just could not believe it. And it has taken me a long, long time to figure out, first of all, how important that was, and then how to try to refit this. How do I reclaim that? How do I get that back into my life? Because everything about my painting process, when I think back on my college days, everything about my painting process was so much more just head on, just focused. Everything about it was really much more intense, and I achieved a lot more, and I was a lot more productive on some levels because of that environment, because I was connected to a tribe. Okay. And I have been learning over the years how to kind of reclaim that. It's really hard to do. You have to spend time. It's got to be cultivated. When you're in art school, you're just kind of chucked into a room with a bunch of artists, and you don't even realize how amazing it is, okay, until you don't have it anymore. So let's talk about how to ways that we can cultivate it. What are some things that we can do? Let me first of all look back and see if I've got any questions or comments. Does anybody identify with this? It's like, yeah, Nancy. Oh, I love this. And so Nancy says, let's see if I can't get it up on the screen so that you can see it. I'll read it to you. Nancy says, being connected with people and talking to other people, you want people to know that your work has value. When you're talking to other people, they're like, okay, yeah, that's nice. All right, thanks, Nancy. Next. I get it. You can't, it's almost like, you've heard of that phrase, casting your pearls before swine. Okay, not that our friends are swine, but sometimes, it's hard to share really personal, important things with people who they're just not going to be able to appreciate it. And so you just hold on to it, and you just hope you can find somebody that, that you can talk to about it, I totally get that. Yes. And then, also, Nancy, yeah, people looking at what we do as artists as, it's not a real job. And, I totally get that. As a person who is, I've devoted my life to painting. I have rearranged my entire life so that I could grow as an artist. I got rid of everything that was standing in the way that I felt was standing in the way of me being able to learn and grow and thrive as an artist. And if that's not a real job, I don't know what is. Okay. We're, like I said, painters are just different. We're a different group. We're a different crowd. Let's see. Yes, several comments here of everybody take time when you can. After the podcast to just kind of go through the comments. Everybody can relate to this. Everybody knows what it's like to not be connected. So let's talk about what you can do. I will say that, if you live in town or in a city or, closer to more, civilization, it is easier. Okay. It is easier. But, if you're in a rural area, you do have some more challenges just because of the geography. I was in a rural area for many, many years, and it was difficult, to drive that, hour one way just to kind of, connect with a few people for an hour or whatever the case might be. And especially if you've got kids or you got to get up early and go to work the next day or both, it's a challenge. I won't lie. It is, but it's so important for us to try to do that. So I would totally recommend that you look at online and in-person options together. And, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Explore, experiment, try different things, and then pick some things that really connect and then really sort of dig deep into that. So online options are super easy. Here's one right now. This is an online option for you to connect with other painters. And I want to be able to come back here every week and share more things about what it means to live your life as a painter. What does that look like? How do we do it? What should I be thinking about? How do I make my work better? What do I need to be focusing on? What are all the things that I need to do to grow as a painter? And then we all are here to share what's working for each of us or what's not working. We're here to support one another. Okay. So this is a great online option. There are all kinds of online groups, memberships, the free things. There's YouTube channels. There's all kinds of things where you can try out, but I would encourage you to make sure that you're connecting with something where you're actually being able to talk to the other people, that it's not just content that you can consume. Not that you shouldn't look at that, but sometimes if somebody's got a YouTube channel where they've got lessons, you're not getting to talk to that person, and in fact, a lot of YouTube channels, you can't really even talk to the other person, the other people that are in there. So Facebook groups or something like that is kind of a good place, even though I think Facebook is not anybody's favorite place to be, but for what we're looking for, it provides us with some pretty good options for online, especially at no cost, for sure. So definitely look at those online things, and you can go into your Facebook, into the search bar, and just look up, free watercolor groups, or whatever the keywords are that you want to look at, and just experiment, play around, see what makes sense to you, and join a group. And if after a couple of weeks you think, I don't think this is for me, then you can just leave that group. You're not going to hurt anybody's feelings. So look for those online, things. Now, for in person, it becomes a little bit different, but I challenge you to get online and search locally for whatever, a local artist guild, any kind of local art organizations that are in your area that offer classes. Take classes at your local venues. Okay, why would you do that? Well, we all need to be continuing to learn from other people all the time, but take some classes at your local venue, because not only are you getting access to to a professional who is, find somebody that's of interest to you. Not only are you getting to get information and feedback from that professional, there's all the other students that are in that class that could become potential new people in your tribe that you connect with, and they're right there in your town or your area. And so, after you're in a class for, usually these are like a 6-week class, and then you befriend somebody there, and now after the class is over, the two of you are having coffee dates every week and encouraging one another about your work. I mean, that's how you start building those things. Okay, so check with local art guilds, local art organizations, and whatever classes that they might have. I encourage you, if regardless of your skill level as a watercolorist, join your state's watercolor association. Do it. Just do it. The opportunities that you have to meet other painters is astounding, and the cost for the year is really, it's not that bad. Some of them, they're anywhere between $30 and $50 for the year. Okay, and you get exhibition opportunities, you get connection opportunities. There are usually live meetings that happen online now. It used to be all in person, but and that's true for some states, but many of them will have their monthly meetings online, live, like a Zoom call thing, and you're getting to meet people right there in different places in your state. And then you can even join the Watercolor Association of other states. I'm a member of the Montana Watercolor Society, for instance, and I'm waiting for the calendar to kind of roll around, because I want to, most of them start, the membership is from January to December. So I'm rejoining my own state, Georgia, and I've also joined a watercolor association out in Texas. So I'm meeting all kinds of people online and connecting with them. It's super, super valuable, and a small price to pay. And then as your skills develop and you get more comfortable, then you've got instant access to exhibition opportunities, and that can turn into whatever it turns into. A very great way to do it. Another thing you can do is start your own group at your local library. Okay, libraries typically allow groups of people to meet like in their little conference rooms, and you can have like a standing date with them, and you can put up a flyer in the library and just say, hey, if you're a watercolorist and you want to hang out for an hour on Wednesdays, or you decide however you want it to be, and then you've got that space. And libraries will have specific rules about groups gathering, like it can't be for profit. You have to be quiet. You can't actually be painting in there, because of the potential of making a mess. But you could totally get together for just discussion and encouragement and whatever you wanted it to be. That would be a great thing to do. And then also, if you're, especially if you live in a big town, it can be a little bit overwhelming, because usually in bigger towns, there's going to be a lot of art opportunities. So there are some paid services like meetup.com. And unfortunately, Meetup, it's a paid service now. It used to be free, but they have upped their game, and their features they've got a lot of features in allowing you to find groups. But, you could join Meetup for a couple of months or something. I think they give you, like, you can do it a month at a time. And just search groups in your area and try them out, because established groups they'll have like a little what do you call it? I guess like a profile. They'll have a little profile. This is our art group, and we meet on this day and this time, and these are the things we talk about. And if that looks interesting to you, then you can just connect with them and just say, hey, I'd like to come to your next meeting, and it goes from there. And you can just try out a bunch of different things. But the idea is, and if anybody else has got other ideas, I'm seeing somebody had posted this. Where did it go? Yes, somebody just posted that they found a local plein air group. Yes, that's the idea of searching, local art groups. And like, I'm a member of the Booth Museum in Cartersville. If you're not familiar with it, look it up online. The Booth Museum is a subsidiary of the Smithsonian, and so their collection is world class. And they have an artist guild. I'm a member there, and they have a plein air group, and it gets posted. Especially they do more in the fair weather months, okay, and in Georgia that can kind of be year round, but they'll post a schedule of all the events and places and locations, and you just sign up and you show up, and it doesn't cost anything other than just the cost of what your membership dues were, okay. And just to give you an idea, I am a member of that artist guild. It's $25 for the whole year. And you're getting to network with people, you're getting to paint with people, you have exhibition opportunities. I mean, it's perfect, and such an inexpensive way to sort of, get close to some people that you would really want to be close to. It's super great. Tanya says, no one understands an artist like another artist. And it's true. Even if the medium is different, I can still have a better conversation as a watercolorist. I can sit down with a fiber artist and we can talk for hours, even though we don't even have the same medium, but we're both operating out of that creative space and understand that drive and that push and that pull to create and to pull all that imagery and pull all of that creativity out of the ether and, drive it through our hands into crafting something that we envisioned in our minds. Just your regular friends who maybe you just sit and talk about books with, they're not going to be able to necessarily follow you on that track. And so that's why we really need each other on that. Let me see if I've got some other questions. If you do have questions or thoughts, definitely post those. The local plein air group is absolutely wonderful. It is so good. Karen is saying, life has taken me from my painting, for a few months now. And yes, it happens. And there are going to be seasons like that, okay? So we all have that, okay? Don't feel like you're failing as a painter if you get kind of sideswiped by big events in your life or whatever. But the key is to not be characterized by it. If you're going months, years without painting, then you need to kind of work on figuring out, hey, I need to figure out how to really prioritize this and bring it back to the forefront. And being connected to other people who are dealing with that too, it really does makes a huge difference. Okay. So, what are these, the objectives of finding your community? You want to show up, you want to be in the mix. Okay. That's what gets you, motivated. It's what gets you inspired. It's what gets you sort of connected. And, the thing that is really happening is that it's bringing your creativity to the forefront. When you jump into the mix with this type of thing, you are prioritizing your creativity, you're bringing it to the forefront, and it will, by default, some other things will get pushed out of the way. I talk to my members about this a lot, and if you've ever attended one of my free Cultivating Watercolor confidence workshops, we talk about that a lot. Oh my gosh, there's so many things that we fill our lives with that take up potentially what could have been really good quality painting time, and we let other things come in, and there are ways to shove all that stuff out so that creativity time can come to the forefront, so that you're not neglecting it, on a consistent basis. Sometimes we have to. And you're just making yourself available to others. You're showing up, even though as artists, sometimes we kind of like to be left alone and just want to do our thing. And there is a place for that. We do need to just, I think Stephen King calls it butt glue. You just got to sit down and you got to stay there and you got to do the work, okay? Don't complain when you haven't created in a while if you haven't sat down and did the work, There's seasons and times when, we regularly need to be doing that. But other times we need to show up for ourselves and for others so that we're helping one another stay in that place of being motivated and staying in that place of encouraging one another. It's absolutely key. It's so, so important to make sure that we've got that community, to make sure that we're connecting with our tribe. And it really is our responsibility to try to cultivate that. So, the payoffs when we do this, we find our tribe, and then we become better artists, okay? Because we're making it a priority. We're showing up for ourselves. We're showing up for other people. We're more inclined to sit down and get the work done, on those times when we're not communing with our people. Okay, so we're going to get better, at what we do. We're going to be able to spend more time with it, and you're also building connections with like-minded people, and that building connection is absolutely key in developing relationships that can lead to other things later down the road, exhibition opportunities. Let's say you've been, kind of connecting with somebody for, 6 months to a year, you guys have been sort of collaborating together or encouraging one another, and then an opportunity comes up maybe in a local coffee shop, and the two of you can go in together and do a little exhibition, and that probably wouldn't have happened had you just not been trying to connect with anybody. I see a good comment here, and ask questions too. Definitely ask questions. Evelyn, welcome, Evelyn. Evelyn is saying, going to the art group takes planning and preparation, packing materials every week, and that can stop me from going when I don't have ideas and a focus to work on. Since joining Jill's community, I've been painting several days each week. Being inspired and excited by what I'm exploring. Awesome, Evelyn, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. And it is true, any painting community that you can really jump head into that aligns with your own values, that aligns with the type of work that you want to do, that aligns with your perceived goals of where you want to go. Find that community. Find it. And get into it. Do that thing, okay? I think we tend to have sort of another thing that artists do is we can be a little stubborn and bullheaded, and I can do it myself kind of thing. And there's something to be said for that, because that's if you've got that, the good things that can come from that is that you are more inclined to be more disciplined and sit down and do the work and show up for yourself. And getting it done. But there's a lot of time that you spend reinventing the wheel, when especially in the early phases or intermediate phases of, getting good and honing your craft, learn from somebody, somebody that's already been down there. Choose that person or that group or that class or whatever it may be. Do that thing. Invest in yourself, wherever it is. Okay, find that mentor. It's super, super important to do that. I've been painting for a long time. And I've said it many times. If you've heard me say this once, you heard me say it 10 or 12 times. I still seek out instruction. I look for people who are farther down the road than I am, who have got specific skills that I look at that and I'm thinking, Okay, I got to figure that out. I want that. I want to own that level of skill, or I want to figure out how to achieve a process like that. And sure, I could sit down and spend a bunch of time trying to figure it out, but why not just take the man's class, take the woman's class, and they will show you. That's what you're paying for. You're investing in yourself while also helping that artist grow and do what they're doing, whoever he is or whoever she is. Be willing to expand, because when you invest in yourself, you're actually investing in everybody else that's out there too. It's phenomenal. Okay, we need to make sure that we're taking care of that. Let's see. Any other questions? I'm trying to look. Let's see. Okay, I do have a question here. Let's see if I might be able to get it up on the screen just so that everybody can see it at the same time. Does it let me? Oh, no, it's not going to show it, but it's letting me see it, but not you. Okay. Let's see. Okay, you're going to have to forgive me. I'm not really good with pronouncing names, but Manish, and if I said that wrong, if I butchered that, I am so sorry. I love you and I don't even know you, but you know that I'm talking to you. The question here is, I would be grateful if you can advise on getting out of a rut. Sometimes it feels uninspiring and nothing seems to be working. Okay, well, what I would like to say to you in the beginning is that this is 100% natural and 100% normal, and you are not broken, okay? When we're working creatively, there are ebbs and flows. I mean, it just is that way. Nothing is going to be top speed, top level, everything all at one time. There are going to be these lower spots, and what I have found, just personally and professionally, by working as a painter myself for many, many years, and also working with others, helping them develop their craft as painters, these ruts exist. They're part of the process, okay? Nothing's broken. But here are some messages that are being spoken to you when you are in those low places. Those low places mean that you're a little bit empty in some cases. It could also mean that you are missing, that you've got some skill gaps. And what I mean by that is that you maybe have in a place where you're envisioning, creatively, visually, you're picturing in your mind what you want this work to look like, but your skill level is only here, and you can see where you want to go, but you just don't have what you need to quite push all the way up to that level. And so in your attempts at this skill level, you get frustrated and discouraged because it's not adding up. It's not equaling the thing that you envision. Okay, that's one of the number one things. Okay, so it's either you're a little bit empty, or you've got some gaps between your vision and your ability. Okay, those are really the two areas that happen. So what's the solution? If you are in that low place and you think that maybe what you're dealing with is that you just feel a little empty, and you just don't have a sense of direction, you're wondering, am I even an artist? Do I even want to do this? You're not even, you're feeling that emptiness, okay? You need to go and fill your well, okay? And what that means is to get out of the studio, put your materials down, and you need to go and do things, look at things, observe things, participate in things that are inspiring to you, okay? That might be going camping. It might be taking a hike in the woods. It might be going and, get out on the lake for a day with friends who have a boat, or maybe you've got one and you can do that. We have kayaks and we go out to the lake often for that purpose, It may be going to a museum to just look at other work that has already been done before you by people who have had their ups and downs and low spots, but have achieved a level that now their work is in a museum, and let that inspire you, let that encourage you. Get up close to the painting, look at the brushwork, connect and commune with whoever that artist was. Go look at things, get out. Don't scroll the internet. get out, move your body out of your home and go find a thing that you can visually look at and observe, and it's feeding you, it's going into you, it's telling you things, it's giving you input. Fresh ideas will start to begin to, come into play when you start to do that. And then your well, so to speak, has gradually been filling up. Now you've got something to dip into when, creatively, when you want to start working on something, okay? Super, super important. You've got to fill your well. You cannot create out of a place of emptiness. You've got to be making sure to spend time filling that well so that you've got something to work with. Okay, secondly, if there's a skill gap, then that just means that, you've got some work to do, and you need to be willing to sit down and be self-taught, work out those things if you feel compelled to do that, if you feel like you've got a game plan for yourself to work on those things. If you're, sometimes if you're in tune enough with what you do, you might say, whatever it is, most of us are able to do this. We can say, I'm really, I'm wanting to do figures, but gosh, I'm so terrible at figure drawing. Well, guess what? That's your new job. Now you need to work on figure drawing. Again, go look at videos and ideally go find a figure drawing class. I live close to Marietta, Georgia. It's like an hour away. It's an hour drive, but every week they have an open draw for figure drawing, and they switch it up between a clothed and a nude figure, a male and female figure, and they tell you in advance what it is, and it's $10, and you just show up, and there's a person right there in real life. Why would I not do that if I know that I'm really wanting to do some figure drawing? I need to fill that skill gap. There's a place to do that. Maybe you're struggling with basics, sign up for classes, participate, find an instructor, find a mentor, whoever that is. And I will add on that, when you're looking for a mentor, find somebody who works in the style that is interesting to you. Okay. When you're working with a mentor, that teacher, they're going to create what they create, okay, and share that with you. And, you've already kind of got to be in a place where I like that work. I want to figure out how that work is done so that I can sort of maybe manipulate that and add to, just assimilate that into my own process. But if you start with an instructor who is vastly different, doesn't really produce, you can appreciate their work, but it's like, I'm not feeling it. I don't really care for that work. Don't sign up for a class with that instructor, because they're not going to suddenly teach something different just because you're there. You know what I'm saying? So find the instruction that you need. Figure out what your skill gaps are and seek out instruction so that you can, you have your idea, you've envisioned where you want to go artistically. You can see, gosh, I wish my paintings looked like this, but then your skills are here and you just can't quite get up there. Fill those gaps, okay? Let me know, I spent a lot of time talking there. Let me know if that helps. And also let me know if I pronounced your name wrong and then how I should pronounce it. Let's see. Let me look. Okay, I see that you did respond, that was helpful. Awesome. I hope that was helpful for everybody. Tanya says that her season in life is changing right now and that she feels dry, feels a little empty. It's the same thing, Tanya. Just, we use it all up, and just think of it as like any ingredient in your kitchen. If your olive oil is out and then you go to the stove and you want to use your olive oil, you can't be shocked that you can't use the oil because the bottle is empty. We wouldn't do that in the kitchen. And so we need to realize that with ourselves. Be mindful. You need to be filled. And, oh, wonderful. Manish. Okay. I'm so glad that I pronounced it correctly. You do need to be full. There's got to be ingredients. There's got to be contents in the bottle for it to be poured out. Okay, so if you're feeling that way, drop any kind of guilt or shame about not being in the studio. put everything down, reset. Okay, think about it this way: you're sharpening your saw. You know, if we're really, really empty, but we're forcing ourselves to sit in the studio and try to plug away, it is like trying to saw a log with a dull saw. Just stop it. Okay, just stop it. Get out of the chair, go sharpen the saw. Okay, then when you come back, then you can cut. Everything starts to work. You know, things start coming out, whatever it may be. Okay, all right. So let me know if I don't want to go too long and keep everybody away from what you need to be doing, but I'm having fun. Let me know if you're having fun. Evelyn said, let's see. Okay, yes, thank you. And Carol and Evelyn are just having some conversation back and forth. That's wonderful. See, that's part of this too. You're getting to maybe people that you don't even, live near, and you're getting to connect, and you can ask questions. And I'll say this before I close up for today. A lot of times as artists and creatives, we're afraid to talk about what we do because we have experienced, that thing of wanting to share with somebody and they're clueless as to what we're talking about. And it kind of just, I respond that way. I'll just kind of shut down, and it's like, well, okay, I guess this wasn't the time or place to talk about that. But in these types of environments, I want you to understand one of my biggest goals is that this is a safe place for you to have those conversations. And so, talk about yourself. Give yourself an opportunity. Use this as a platform to talk about your own concerns as a painter and that type of thing, so that conversations can get started among you. And I just saw this. Somebody said it. It popped up on my screen. Okay, Carol Eustace. Welcome, Carol. Thank you for being here. She lives in Oregon, and but she's working at getting a class together. And I know that I think we've talked about this before, Carol. That and certainly with Evelyn too. The areas where you are, there may be some limitations on what you have access to, but just keep getting in there. Just keep getting in there. Shelley has a good question. Shelley says, how do I make my techniques my own? And this is a fantastic question. This is something that it's very process oriented. First of all, we have to know that it's not an instant thing, okay? But when you're learning from other people, especially, you are picking up techniques from other people. And then one of the things that you want to do, and one of the things that I strive to do as an instructor, I never want my students to copy me. I never want them to feel like they're supposed to or that they should. I'm providing just some throughput of here is how to achieve these types of effects, these types of painting strategies, why you would even think about using a specific strategy. I want you to think like a painter. I want you to think about how to put the pieces together. What are my considerations? All of that type of thing. And gosh, that's just a lot of information. And so over time, it's really a matter of repetition. It's a matter of investing the time in painting and doing demos and doing techniques and going through those are very valuable. But there does come the point where, I always recommend to, follow the demo, do a demo, but then redo the demo just on your own without the instruction, so that your natural tendencies have a chance to sort of pop out, okay? Even, I'm a painter. I've been painting for many, many years, but if I'm taking a course with another painter, I'll give you an example. I just took a course last year with Ian Stewart up in Kalispell, Montana, when we were traveling out there. If you've taken a course with Ian, you'll probably know it's wonderful. He's an extremely talented painter. I love what he does, and as I'm watching him, though, I will tend to sort of emulate his style a little bit during the demo, because I'm trying to learn from what he does and how he does it. Okay, so I'll find myself kind of emulating what he does, and it will unnaturally like not look like one of my paintings. It'll look like I'm trying to paint like Ian Stewart. Okay, that's normal. Okay, because that's what you're doing. You're emulating, you're copying, you're learning. But when I'm out of that environment, when I'm on my own, then I will look at that subject and repaint that subject, remembering the things that I learned, because it's like, it's like a salad bar. It's like, oh, I really love the way that Ian Stewart does gradients. There's some things that Ian Stewart does that, it's his signature style or whatever, and that comes into play in his angular line work, because he is an architect as well. Okay, so that's going to shine through, that angular line work. I'm not so much about the angular line work. I will include it a little bit when I'm copying him, when I'm emulating him, but then when I sit down on my own, I kind of omit that part, and I'm more fluid, and I like a messier, more heavy granulated. I'm okay with colors washing and bleeding into each other. I'll start to let my own tendencies come through. So Shelley, it's really a way of it's important that you have spent enough time painting on your own, developing your own sort of tendencies, letting them come out so that you know what they are. Okay, it's kind of like knowing what your handwriting looks like, that type of thing. I hope that that's helpful for you. Let's see. Shelley's got another question. Shelley is definitely Shelley is a member in my membership, and Shelley's got a good question about some values and different things like that. Is there a formula for getting those darkest darks? I don't get them on my own. I'm remembering to chase the darks. I tend to stop before you. Is that my style? It may be, absolutely. If you find that you're getting, if you push some of the values darker than you look at it and you're like, I just don't like it that dark, then that may be your style. You may be a more of a high key painter, and that's fine. The only stipulation is that there still has to be the proper differentiation between your values. You can't omit value. It's just that your lightest light and your darkest dark, they still need to be in proportion to one another, but they are going to probably be a little bit lighter. Okay, so you'll just have to kind of play with that. Let's see. Evelyn is talking about painting along with demos. And then when you try to dig out your own photos that you've, absolutely. This is part of it. Evelyn is spot on with this. So I'm going to paraphrase what Evelyn has said. She'll do a demo, and the techniques that she's used, it'll inspire her with maybe some other photos that she has, and so it encourages her to dig those out and try that technique out on one of her own photos, and that's where you start having that transfer. Okay, because you don't want to just be in a situation where you're just copying another artist. You can start there. Everybody starts there. It's normal, it's appropriate, it's encouraged. Okay, that's how you learn. Okay, but then as you start kind of moving into finding your own style, finding your own voice, you've got to kind of have that stepping off point, and that happens mostly in transferring techniques. Okay, here's an example. So if you do a demo where, I don't know, maybe it's backlit tree canopy, let's just say. I'm just using that as an example, okay, because we're a landscape painter. I'm a landscape painter here. So it's a tricky thing, especially with watercolor. It's hard to, to get that look, to get that feel, to get the paint to communicate the behavior of light in that specific way. All right, so if I demonstrate several different techniques of how to get that, there's this formulaic approach, it's handled the same way every time. And so then once you pick up on that, then you may have your own photos from your own vacation trip or hike in the woods or whatever it is. And you're like, okay, here's this backlit tree canopy. Okay, I'm going to give it a shot. But, in your photo, you're probably going to have different colors, a different type of tree, whatever the case may be. The principles are the same. Carry the principles with you. That's that transfer of information so that you can start to integrate that into your own process. Okay, I hope that's helpful. So let's do this. There's definitely more comments. I think I've maybe handled all the questions that might have been in there. If you're catching this on a replay, definitely go through and look at all the comments. But let's wrap up for today. I want to try to keep the sessions, under an hour because I don't want to take up your whole day. But I hope this has been encouraging for you. This is our first episode. I do plan to come back here every week on Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern to share some more insights with you on the process of thinking like a painter, because it really is different. We know that we're different. I hope that you feel like you have got a place to find some encouragement and some inspiration, and to find other people who are in the same boat with you, and that even in the process of communicating with each other, just on these, just in these live sessions, or even just in the group alone, that you can find kinship. You can find that person or group of people, multiple people that, oh my gosh, we got the same stuff going on. I need to connect with these people. You just never know where these relationships are going to go. It's super, super valuable. Come back to your tribe. Come back, look for your tribe. Cultivate your tribe, because it's so important. It's such a huge asset to you as a creative, as an artist, as a painter. Okay, it makes a huge, huge difference. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I look forward to seeing you next week. I will be posting some information in the group about the next session and what our topic will be, so that hopefully that will inspire you to maybe come up with some questions related to that, so that you can, fire those away, when we're online. The replays will be available for this here in the group, also on YouTube and on Spotify. Okay, so I'm setting it up pretty much like a podcast is where I want this to, how I want this to kind of behave. And the replays will be available just publicly, but if you want the interaction, if you want to be able to ask questions and have immediate feedback from me live and with other people here in the group, joining the group lets you have that, that first, one-on-one contact with me and all the people here in the group, okay? Everything else will just be a replay with no interaction, let's just say. So here's where the party is. It's right here where we're all together. Invite your friends. Tell them to come into the group, and I posted it earlier. Here's a pro tip: when you want to join the group, tell your friends, share the group with whoever you want, as long as you know that they are a painter, okay, and that they feel like that they would be interested in this content. A fiber artist might not be as interested, because I am going to be talking more about painting for sure. Not that they can't be here, but you can just kind of use your judgment on that. So when you invite people, though, as soon as they join the group, you're asked 2 questions. And if you answer those 2 questions, you're immediately added to the group without having to wait on somebody to approve you. So pro tip, let them know that, and they'll get right in and be available for next week's session. So thank you everybody for attending. I have enjoyed this so much. I hope it's been good for you too, and I will see you next week live here in our group. Talk to you later. Bye bye.